Welcome to Dr. Mary Travelbest's 5 Steps to Solo Travel Guide, an empowering travel and life adventure for guiding women like you. My goal is for you to create memories with your travels. I want to expand your relationships and help you find better community. In this episode, the FAQ is how to pack a personal item to travel for 90 days. And today's destination is Death Valley Part 2. Today's misstep, I'm bad at directions. And the travel advice is take the lessons with you and share it with others. So here's the FAQ. This is actually Part 2 of how to pack a personal item for travel for 90 days. In the last episode, we discussed how to pack a small and light bag if you're on an airplane. If you're going on a driving trip, though, you can bring items like everything you want. However, for an airplane, you should be light and small, and you should limit your personal item to 14 pounds or less. And the size limitations of the airlines are all visible on their websites. You must prepare well in advance for a long trip to a foreign country like I did. This is a step 4 or step 5 level of travel, which requires a shift of perspective and try to live like a local as best as you can. So you could use AI prompts to ask about the dress and customs in the country you're going to visit. One example would be to ChatGPT, tell me what the typical woman in her 50s wears in Nigeria. I just asked ChatGPT that question, and I got a very detailed response with several options on what to wear, depending on the occasion, such as a wedding or traditional wear. I learned about Yoruba and Igbo, both of which are found in Nigeria. Try this yourself in a country you will visit. Leave behind your expensive jewelry and purses, and change your view or your point of view to that of your host as best you can. In other words, try to act like a local. So now we're going to go back to the Death Valley, planning the visit, but this is part 2. So in part 1, I told you about how I planned the trip and my first stops. Here's where I went, and I'm going to reflect on the trip and a memory. So I set out to see more using the checklist that I had created from my research. Furnace Creek was on my list of things to see, and there was a superb hotel I was told to visit. But first, I went to Badwater Basin. It's the lowest spot in the USA at 282 feet below sea level. There was a salt layer on top of everything here, and at first I thought it was snow. Touching it, you feel the granularity. Touching the base walkway, it was frozen water, so it almost felt like a winter scene, but in the middle of the desert. So it was pretty awesome. The boardwalk allows you to walk out onto the tundra. And on the way there, I passed a few different destinations. One was called Devil's Golf Course, but I don't think it was open. That was pretty funny. I missed a few things, but I will see them on my next visit. I did spend a lot of time at Badwater Basin, so I encourage you to go there. So after that, I had been driving quite a while, so I needed to get some electricity for my car. So the Oasis that I went to at Furnace Creek, it had only one charging unit, and it was in use, or maybe it had 2. So I went to the ranch, and there were plenty of chargers. This is the ranch at the Oasis. However, it was a slow charge. So I had time to explore the ranch and checking out the pricing, very expensive. And then I walked over to the National Park Visitors Center. So Furnace Creek is where I'm talking about here. It's the busiest part of the park, and they have the typical national park exhibits with live guides to assist you, lots of resources for all your needs. So be sure you stop in there if you go to see Death Valley. This is where you're going to learn more about the park than anywhere else. Now, the ranch at Furnace Creek, where I was getting my car charged, it's a fine place to walk around and explore. They've got lots of features of a resort, including an outdoor museum, tennis courts, a pool, restaurants, and gift shops. But the price of staying here is very high. So if you want to save money, you can always find something outside the park and then drive in each day. There's a place for campers across the street too. So I found this on Reddit. I'm going to read this quote to you. It says, At the inn, you will get the service you expect at a resort. At the ranch, you will not. That being said, I stay at the ranch's RV lot occasionally when I need to shower off the dust, but I know what to expect, and it's a bit cheaper than their hotel rooms. So after I left Furnace Creek, I went to Mesquite Flat and Dunes. They were worth getting out of the car and walking in, seeing the fine dust that resembled beach sand, but was more gritty. My final stop was Panamint Springs, where I found gas. Well, there was a gas station. I didn't use it. A motel, a restaurant, a store, a bathroom, and it's right nearby Father Crowley Point, which I will visit next time. Now, as always, you don't have to see everything. Research what you want to visit and then move on. That meant the drive south to Ridgecrest, where I refueled my electricity and then made it home without even stopping. It was about 220 miles. And reflecting back, this was a bucket list trip that met my expectations. I would highly suggest this will build your trip of a lifetime list. And now I want to talk about my misstep. I'm bad at directions. One of my weaknesses. I'm really not good at it, and I often get lost, even with a map. However, I always get found. On this trip to Death Valley, I got turned around a few times, and the map did not seem to help much. The good thing about my EV is that it has GPS, so if I punch in the destination, it will give me directions. However, there were a few places on this trip where there was no service, so in these cases, I was on my own. I recommend you download your Google Maps in advance with locations you want to see that are already planned. And reflecting on the palm-shaded oasis and consider how they fit in the desert landscape, they were pretty amazing. So you'd be all in the desert and then all of a sudden you'd see these palm trees. They were so green against the backdrop of the browns and the rest of nature, but really very beautiful. Okay, today's travel advice: take the lesson with you and share it with others. So history has a lesson in every travel adventure you make. If you look for it, you're going to see and you're going to feel the lesson. In Death Valley, it was about the shifting of land and quaking of earth. These great powers shaped sand dunes, canyons, boulders, and volcanic craters that you see today. So let me know if you go there. I want to bring meaning to your future travel. If you sign up for Dr. Travelbest's newsletter, we can then start connecting. I've got a Facebook page, a private Facebook group. I've got Instagram. I've got TikTok, if it's still in business. You can find the 5 Steps to Solo Travel series on Amazon and take a look at the show notes for more details.
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travelbest, that is.